What's up? What's going on? It's a new day and a new episode. I'm your host, Rosville, and this is Alliance Late Night, episode number 14. I took a little bit of time away, a little bit of time off from doing these things, and I will get to that in just a moment. But what we're going to be talking about on this episode, I'm kind of off the cuff, as they say. Going to be talking about tomorrow's Saturday night hike event with Peak Sports Entertainment up in Everett, Washington. We'll also be talking about Defy Wrestling's Streets of Rage, which will be taking place this Sunday. Today's date is April 11th, just so you know. And also we'll be talking about Prestige Wrestling down in Portland, Oregon. They have their 8-year anniversary event coming up as well. So that's where we're going with this. But where I'm going to start, why have I been MIA from doing any of these podcasts? I actually did do some shorts, just do some stuff out there, did some things off the top of my head. Didn't really tie into any full length videos that I have posted, any of my episodes. But what's going on for me is that, folks of you who share my content and we chat often through Facebook or through X. Alliance Late Night was created to put focus on the National Wrestling Alliance. That is why the word alliance is in the headline, name of the show. That is why I have custom made NWA belt right there on the screen, right over there. Why I have the NWA shirt on and hat, which is tilted where you can't see. And that belt back there, that same custom belt, NWA across the middle. That is why I created this channel, to put focus on the National Wrestling Alliance and all of its territories. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I focus on the top dogs, which would be AEW and WWE? I have a preference. I was raised on the National Wrestling Alliance. But what I was raised on and the product that is out right now, they are not the same. They're not close. They're nowhere close to meeting in the middle. I'm tired of getting onto my podcast and speaking about the National Wrestling Alliance, but I find myself having more dislikes than likes. Again, as I said in other videos before, I like majority of the talent throughout all the territories in NWA Power. But there's a bunch of things that don't make sense to me. There's a bunch of things that don't gel. The NWA seems to have an identity crisis. It doesn't know if it wants to be the NWA of old, utilizing the territories, traveling champions, all circulating through the one big show, right? But this is not a call-up situation like what we have with the WWE, with SmackDown and Raw, and then all of a sudden we have somebody from NXT. That's not how the NWA territories were set up. So already we're having an issue with how the territories are being utilized. NWA Power is not a separate entity from NWA, the main show. We knew that NWA Jim Crockett Promotions was just that, but every time we watched an episode of the NWA, we just knew that Jim Crockett Promotions was behind the NWA. We didn't separate them, right? We were just watching the NWA. Right now, there's a hard time following which way do we need to view this thing. Is Power the call-up show and all that stuff that happens in the territories doesn't really matter until Corgan feels like he wants to call him up to the big show to be streamed on X and only X? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Secondly, What are we doing with the television championship? The NWA TV belt, title, however you want to say it. At this point, I don't even know who holds the title. I'm going to assume it's still Carson Drake, which if that is the case, how did that happen? Because didn't he go and meet Tom Latimer for a shot at the championship, the 10 pounds ago? And hasn't it always been in every other circumstance, in every other situation where there's a challenge for the 10 pounds ago and you have the TV title, that you have to forfeit that championship? From what I saw, the last that I saw, I didn't see that happen. Now, maybe I'm off. Anybody out there in the comments, you let me know. But that doesn't never mind the fact. Prior to this championship challenge at the last PLE or whatever you want to call it, the NWA Television Championship, the Heavyweight Television Championship, or the World's Television Championship, however you want to call it. I don't know. What do they call it? I call it MIA. I call it a championship belt that's been worn by somebody and booked by someone who doesn't book it the way that it's supposed to be booked. You see, when you have a traveling champion like Tom Latimer, who takes the NWA World's Championship belt outside of the promotion, not just at other territories, but outside of the promotion. You have another belt that's supposed to step up and fill that spot for a main event on Power. We're not getting those main event matches. We're getting championship matches. We're getting championship matches, but for what? Why? Why are they happening? How did we get here? I like Mims. Mims deserves solid competition with the build-up. But what we're getting is just things tossed at him. What we have is Carson Drake with the championship belt, laughing with that stupid ass laugh, not really having any serious matches, but large gaps in between any challengers. Same thing goes for the Women's Television Championship. But at least I like Big Mama, what I've seen of her. When you line up the history of the holders of the National Wrestling Alliance's Television Championship, Carson Drake doesn't fit. You know who fit better with that title? With that championship belt? Is when it was in WCW, because let's just keep the lineage correct here, right? We know that NWA split, WCW went its way, right? We know the company split. But we also know that WCW's Television Championship is a spinoff of the National Wrestling's version of that belt. Hacksaw Jim Duggan taking the TV title out of the garbage can to reclaim it and to try to restore value to it has meant more than the entire time that Carson Drake has had that belt. Now, again, maybe I'm wrong right now and he doesn't even have that championship anymore, but I think he does, which makes no sense. Or I'm lost in the sauce because the tapings of these events are months ago, then we get them aired, and then there's some stuff that looks like we're caught up, but we're not really caught up. So where are we? We have commentary that is just shitting on the people that are there to do a good job. Corgan starts talking. It's as if he wants to discredit Danny Dills every time Danny Dills talks, every time he speaks up. You're burying somebody who filled the void of when Velvet Sky left. And let's keep it real. I don't know her personally. I don't dislike her personally. But on the microphone and commentary, she sucked. And everybody wanted her gone. And as soon as she was gone and Danny Dills filled the spot, everybody was like, that's the guy. We needed him on the microphone. Him and Joe Galley have good chemistry. They know what they're doing. But the boss man comes out of the boss man's office thinking he knows to do all the boss things. And he's just dumping on everything that's happening on commentary. I'm hearing what he's saying. It's as if he's not even talking highly of his own promotion at points. He's trying to explain to us dumbass angles or dumbass storylines that he's just pulling out of wherever. Now you have the Crockett Cup coming up. Kim, or whatever her name is, from TNA is going to be there. I just heard that today. Then Neihard is going to be there. That's great. Then we have, after the last PLE for the NWA, now we find out that we're going to have Rhino versus Tom Latimer for the 10 pounds ago, the NWA World's Championship. One side, I understand. You're booking somebody outside of the blue meanie to challenge your home guy, your champion, your NWA World's Champion. And you're trying to piggyback off of the ECW crowd because the Crockett Cup is going to be at the 2300 Arena. I get it. It's called piggybacking. You're piggybacking off of the legacy of ECW and putting Rhino into a heavyweight championship match. Great. He used to be a champion himself. I got it. But let's just keep it real and understand what this really is. This is piggybacking off of the ECW legacy and their followers, their crowd, their community. Let's keep it real again. Had we not seen Rhino in that ring, would any of you have said, and I've been in the chats, have any of you said, you know who a good competitor, a good challenger for Tom Latimer in that 10 pounds ago to be? We should put Rhino in there. Nobody, nowhere. Every name you can think of except his. Nothing against him personally. I don't know him. But let's keep it real again. He's not in the conversation. On top of that, you don't have anybody out of all the territories that you've been building a story up with to lead up to the Crockett Cup that would be a storyline that would make sense, and then we could be invested. At this point, it wouldn't even really matter who that person was as long as there was a storyline and a build up to that match, and we don't have it. So, because you can't book properly, because you can't hold a storyline together, you just got to throw a guy in there who happens to be tied to this arena and tied to that community, who's tied to a promotion that did his thing and will forever live on. I mean, it's obvious. There's no denying that. But this is a piggyback move. Some might call it lazy booking. One or the other. I don't want to see this match. I haven't wanted to see any match with Rhino. I saw him. I've seen him. I've seen his matches. I know that he's had accomplishments. And I know everybody doesn't share my same point of view. I understand. Everybody doesn't like who I like, and everybody doesn't dislike who I dislike. But again, in any conversations that you've been part of, prior to this being booked as a match, prior to Rhino and Latimer being in the same ring at that last Premium Live event or NWA signature event, whatever they call it, was he in any of you guys' mouth? Was he at the tip of the tongue of any of you? And the answer is no. But you surely didn't want it to be the Blue Meanie. I know that from being in the conversations. So I said all that for about 15 minutes just to say that's why I haven't done any podcasts. I'm this close to just calling it done with the NWA. We're hoping and we're wishing and we're hoping and we're wishing and we watch and we watch and we watch and we're upset and disappointed, let down time after time after time, episode after episode after episode. I understand the talent doesn't have the final call. And that's it should be, right? There's supposed to be a structure. Your booker or bookers, a small crew of people who book, because it takes multiple people to come up with storylines and give them continuity to make them flow. Obviously, we don't have that because we get matches thrown together, or we have short-lived storylines that dissolve. We're trying to figure out what's going on with Max right now. I mean, like, then I hear Austin Idol is no longer anything. What's going on there? Is this all over the place? None of it makes sense. The skits on the new episode started out good for the first episode of Shockwave or whatever, because I don't know what part we're on. I don't know if we're watching just episodes of Power or if it's still Shockwave. Started out good. Now, I skipped 2 episodes, I believe. I tried to get into this last Tuesday's episode. I watched the beginning and turned it off. I'm not a hater, I'm a supporter. I'm not a hater, I'm a supporter. I have a channel that I created because I want to talk good about the NWA so that people who I know, wherever I promote, wherever I'm sharing on social media, maybe I can get them to come and watch. And maybe they'll tell somebody else about it. And then maybe they'll tell somebody else about it. Because the NWA is the granddaddy of them all. The NWA is the one promotion everybody my age from my neighborhood, whether they continue to watch wrestling throughout their teen years or not, it's the one promotion everybody remembers. Everybody remembers where Ric Flair came from. Everybody remembers where Dusty Rhodes came from. Everybody remembers Tully Blanchard and the rest of the Four Horsemen and Barry Windham and Nikita Koloff and all those people. They remember those people. They remember that NWA. Now, we're not stupid. They're not stupid. They know that these people have aged out. But they remember the caliber of the National Wrestling Alliance. And when I sent clips or sent links to people, they're like, what is this? And why do you watch it? Oh, this is what they're supposed to be doing? That doesn't make that. So I took a time out, stepped back, trying to figure out exactly how I want to continue doing this podcast moving forward. Not only as it relates to covering or not covering the NWA, but also just how I want to present myself as part of this whole thing called professional wrestling. Right now, This is a shoot. This is me shooting. I would like to play a part. But it's hard to play a part when you can't get involved because it just doesn't make any sense. I would like to be maybe the heel podcaster that interacts with your talent and other talents from other promotions, and I do my spiel, which gives some coin to whatever you have going on. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen in this direction. So, with all that said, I hope that the NWA gets to a point. There's a few different things that I'm hoping for, and I'm actually I think I'm going to just cut this and make this whole thing that I'm talking about right now one episode by itself. I'm going to re-record another episode later this evening or tomorrow morning because I have a bunch of shows that I want to talk about that have nothing to do with this. But I'm 20 minutes in, and that was about as long as I wanted the whole shebang to go. But here's where I'm at with the NWA. Either everybody needs to and this is hard to say because I just can't imagine that all the talent in the NWA is saying, yeah, all this stuff is good. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, these are great ideas. I just can't see that. I give everyone there who gets down in that ring more credit than that. But I understand there's a love and a passion for what they do. And just like I have a boss at my job, they have a boss. And if they want to be on that platform, it's not even about the pay. Let's not even get into money. The platform, those 3 letters, that attachment, the history, being part of that. They have to go along with terrible calls. But in a perfect world, I guess I would like to see the talent stand up and say we don't like this. We're great talent and we deserve to be presented and have a package presented that shows us in our best light, that shows the greatness of the NWA, the legacy of the NWA. So I don't know if you want to call it a strike or whatever, a revolt against the terrible booking. Or we really start a booking committee. This is option number 2. Create a real booking committee. I don't want the territories to just be something that you say, but really is just a farm system, which is a farm system to get to power for Corgan to be your booker. Is that what we're looking forward to? For you to be great and build yourself up in whatever territory you're at, whatever territory you're in, and then you get to power and Corgan's booking you. Is that the payoff? That doesn't make any sense based on what I'm seeing and what a lot of people are seeing and what several channels on YouTube are seeing and reporting and talking about. That's not the payoff. So instead of, I don't know if they're leasing the name, the licensing of the usage of the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, next to their names to give them some kind of boost and credibility or whatever. I don't know the schematics, the deals, the paperwork, the contracts, or any of that behind the scenes when it comes to that. There should be a real booking committee that everybody who's the head figures in all these promotions in the territories are part of. And everybody in every promotion at some point should be working in some kind of continuity together for the bigger things to happen. There should be a meeting of the minds to establish what we're doing with the world champion, what we're doing with the NWA national champion. Have you noticed how I only say I like Mims once in this whole thing, and I'm just now mentioning the NWA national championship? I'm, I said he didn't have any challengers, right? So maybe that's me mentioning it twice. He doesn't have any competition, right? We need a booking committee who can strike down dumb ideas and come up with new ones. If the idea of the territory system is to make the NWA great, like it once was, I mean, we can just go back to 2020. It was cracking in the studio with David Marquez there. It was cracking. And all this came crashing down because some people who were part of that organization felt exactly the same way I feel and many others who watch. It wasn't working. So, booking committee. Like I said, that's option 2. That would be your best bet, in my opinion. And I know my opinion with my small ass channel, my little 17 subscribers, my average of like 30 views on my videos. I'm nobody. I get it. I'm an easy target for somebody to come back and bump their gums about, well, who are you? I'll tell you this. I've watched enough wrestling in my life to know that if you gave me the reins of the NWA, it would be 100 times better than what's happening. I don't care what my numbers are on YouTube. I don't care what my numbers are on Facebook or X. Doesn't matter. I know how to make sense. That's all I know how to do is make sense. Booking committee. I'm going to form a real booking committee. Put real programs together. Find an office room with a big ass wall and put a marker board on it and take all your talent and all your promotions and put them on there and come up with storylines for everybody. Marvel Universe this shit. You don't have none of that happening. Nowhere close. Distribution. Who cares about distribution? Who cares about how many platforms you're on or that you're not on? Because if you're on 7 platforms being distributed, but this is the quality that's going out, you're better off just being on X. We have all these territories all doing their independent things, independent unto themselves, but they're part of the NWA. And I had to bounce around all these different channels to see all their content, all their matches. When we used to have a show called NWA USA, which you don't even have to have an arena. You don't have to do anything extra in the physical other than edit some video. Bam, NWA USA. Highlighting certain matches from all the promotions that are part of the territory. We're not even there. We're not even there, and that's easy. That was easy like Sunday morning. That was easy like that should have been step 2 and 3 as you were announcing new territories. Third option, Gorgon Sales, which he's not going to do. So some millionaire out there, who understands that wrestling is big business right now. It's huge business when done correctly. It's huge business because the ecosystem is huge right now. But imagine somebody with the money who hires the people with the know-how, who brings in some producers to help make the show look good. Not just good cameras, actually the whole product look good. How the talent presents themselves, what they say, how they spot themselves, why they do it makes sense, and all these other we're talking a whole new ball game. And like, it's been said, what millionaire is out there that would even think about this? Think about purchasing the NWA. Fourth option, because we know that he's not going to sell. I can't see that. I can't see that. The other option would be reset. Reset everything. Figure out how to scrap everything you have going on and reset. Which I know that sucks because you're doing skits and it's supposed to be going somewhere. And I think the Southern Six are probably doing a better job at that than the other thing you got going on in this Latimer thing and what's happening with Stevens and somebody said something and now he's got to answer a question. I don't even care. Because I just saw Tom Latimer in a match in Maple Leaf Pro that looked better than all his last 3 challenges against EC3 in the NWA. And then he comes back to a new season with Shockwave being presented, and we don't even know anything. And I know it's supposed to be leading up to a thing, but didn't the demons in his closet already come out in another storyline, which is what EC3 was saying the whole entire time? Now we're just going to switch that over to somebody else who's going to say this is part of his history that still haunts him. It's like you don't remember that we were there watching that you already did this. How many times are we going to play on Tom Latimer's history? The demons in this closet or whatever. Like, come on. He's Tom Latimer. Look at him. He should be fed. In between the big main events, he should be taking on people who got a little bark, demonstrated some bite, ran through 3 or 4 people, particularly no-namers. And now he's ready to take it on. Big man. We're not getting that. We're not getting main event feel. We're not getting main event energy. We're not getting Clash of the Titans energy. I got that when I ordered Maple Leaf Pro's pay-per-view to watch Tom Latimer. Exodus Pro's events that run on NWA's YouTube channels are better than Power. That's real. I'm not saying I like everything on those shows. But that last event, what was that? Win in Rome? Especially for the championship match? Come on. Come on. we have we just have an issue of who do you want to be? Are we serious? Because I'm serious about professional wrestling. I understand every now and then there's a little jokester, there's a clown that comes through, and that's their thing, and they get the snot beat out of them, and we go on to the serious business. What does the NWA want to be? Does it want to be a small version of WWF? Because some of the stuff that has come out lately, I'm like, well, what are we doing? Like the manager that's supposed to be like the safari guy with the big gigantic guy. Like what is that? As far as gimmicks, Max is as far as you should probably ever go. Because in retrospect, the blueprint of the National Wrestling Alliance exists all from the beginning, 1948, all through the classic era of the 80s, early 70s, 83, 84, 85, 86. The blueprint is there. What are we doing? Everything is not bad because I'm going to say this and I'm kissing nobody's ass because I don't have to. I don't care what you guys think. Anybody is part of any of this stuff, any in any aspect with the NWA. You don't have to like me. I don't care. But I'm gonna call it how it needs to be called because I want you to win. We want you to win. The talent there, for the most part, good. Being used wrong. Being led or not produced in these matches correctly. 99.9% of my issues from where I'm standing watching comparing one era to this one. There's people in the current roster, they have it, but they're not being put into the position to demonstrate it correctly. We had La Rebellion. They were so good. There was nobody that could they had to work miracles. Tag team division is falling apart because people want to move on. And eventually more talent is going to get plucked. More talent is going to leave because everybody there is trainable and all the money is elsewhere. So if you, as an owner, want to look good, you got to capitalize now. Now, I know it's difficult to take critique. I know people think my background is shitty and I shouldn't have it like that. I know that too. But I start where I'm at and I build. Some people don't like the layout on my channel. Me standing there with my custom made belt that I didn't wrestle for. Somebody's got something to say about that, right? Everybody has something to say about something, right? And I know that channels like mine or voices and opinions like mine will get that shrug like, yeah, it's just another talking and doesn't know anything about anything. Just because I haven't worked in that profession yet doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. Booking is booking. I've booked talent, just not in professional wrestling. I've booked venues, just not for professional wrestling events. I know how it works. I know how you gauge talent. I know how you book talent. I know why you book them. I know why you put them, how you place them in lineups, which for you would be bouts. I understand building an event from bottom to top. I understand progression from opening to end. I understand about coming up with concepts and themes. I know about ticket sales, managing ticket accounts, door people, security. I know about all that. I've never ran the ropes before. Doesn't mean that I can't. So discredit me if you want. Don't listen. Everybody out there who's going to see this, you can say that guy's full of shit if you want to. That's cool. But you have about 2 or 3 more chances, NWA. With me. I know other guys who have their own podcasts, and they have people on their show, on their podcast, on a podcast that talks about the NWA who do not watch your product. How does that feel? There's members on podcasts right now that focus on the NWA who have members on their team, on their crew who do not watch your product. People who have also walked away, stepped back in to check out your product, was still disappointed and walked away again. I think like the NWA needs a moment of prayer. And I'm not joking. It's not a joke. Wrestling is really serious to me. I understand what wrestling is. A grown man. I always knew that there was no Santa Claus, so I know what it is. I always knew what it was, professional wrestling. But I take it serious because as a kid, it was real. When I watched the NWA at like 11 at night here in the Pacific Northwest, 1984, 1985, in the lineup of NWA, WWF, and Glow Wrestling, all late night. When I saw the NWA, I knew this was the real stuff. This wasn't all that bright colored stuff going on in the WWF. These guys you might really see walking down the street. These guys you might see at the bar somewhere in your neighborhood. Times have changed, but what you're supposed to do in sellability, being sellable, being able to pass for, being close to what you represent so that it exudes, it emanates, it radiates. This is who you are. That factor still remains. It's not a lost cause. It's just that you get people in the seats. Your last events at the 2300 arena have looked good. They look good on TV. All those people in there and those pictures that you take and you share, all that stuff looks good. But are we having classic matches that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life? I don't even feel any excitement for the main events. Right now, I'm not even that excited for the Crockett Cup. I want it to be successful. I understand that these 2 women that are going to be part of it, that's a big deal. I understand that's a big deal. Moreover, Neihard and the other woman, Gail Kim, But nonetheless, I understand all those two factors are big factors together. I understand with Rhino being part of the Crockett Cup, I understand what that's going to do for the effects that you're looking for having this next event in the 2300 arena. It's that thing. Accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. So if you can have just that night looks a particular way and you can slice it and you can edit it and you can chop it and you can screw it and you can get it. But what about next episode of Power after that? Show's not over. What about what we're gonna do next Tuesday? I go to independent shows in my area. They have continuity. There's a guy who's going to be there's a guy that's booked in them tag team match tomorrow for Peak Sports Entertainment, which you sent Tom Latimer to defend his 10 pounds ago, and I was there to support it. I went to that show to support the champion, and by doing so, I learned about a new promotion. Do you hear me? This promotion has continuity, and they're a straight up independent promotion. Straight up independent. They have a guy who was supposed to challenge a guy last month. He no-showed. He sent this video clip running his mouth like he was a superstar. And while his challenger was in the ring trying to understand what was going on, sucker punch. Hooligans sucker punches him and attacks him. Bam, we got a match. It's not the match with the guy he was looking for, but there's a match. What happens at the conclusion of that? The guy who didn't get the opponent that he wanted, he got the win. But not satisfied with the win, he said he wanted to see that guy again for attacking him from behind. And this time he was going to bring more pain because he was going to bring his boy with him. So now you get a tag team partner. And next Saturday Night Hike, we're going to meet in that ring. And I'm going to show you what time it is when it's face to face and I got my people with me too. Easy, cheesy, thick, and easy. So you can see my level of frustration, and I shouldn't be that frustrated about something that's not even what it's not. It is what it is. This is entertainment. But I don't like seeing people do wrong and injustice, not just to me and other people who are watching, but your talent. Your talent. By now, I should have seen at least two spectacular matches for the national championship. But how are you going to keep recycling the same talent from the same roster who have not enough wins to even be in a position? You build Spencer Slade up to get the number one contender spot for the junior heavyweight championship, which everybody the whole entire time was going, why is he even in that position anyway? Because clearly he's not a junior heavyweight. But because we like Spencer Slade, we know what the deal is with Spencer Slade. We just want to see him get his time to shine, his opportunity to shine. He gets to the title match. and a bam to his ears to knock his headgear off, and that's how he loses a match. Now, I like that you played on the ears and the headpiece thing, but that gets the win. So, reset. Now, what are we going to do with him? Because he just lost to Alex Taylor by getting whacked in the ears with ear protection. I know people who lie and cheat and come up with. Oh, man. So, again, NWA, I'm praying for you. I'm praying that there's a sit down, a get together, a round table, a sit around the fire, a release of the mindset that the current leadership knows everything, that all their decisions are all the best ones just because they made them. I pray that someone speaks up for individuals like myself who understand what we're seeing and what we're not seeing and why so many people are upset and disappointed and starting to turn away. I pray that things go long enough that this promotion stays above water long enough for the breakthrough to happen. However, that has to come. However, that has to happen. You had a stride. You had the industry buzzing about you. You had the pieces of the puzzle there. And for whatever behind the scenes stuff, which I don't know, I'm not a dirt sheet guy. My name is Rosville, and this is my opinion based upon what I'm seeing. But you had all the pieces of the puzzle there. And something and someone ruined that. Let's pray for some healing around that. Doesn't mean that things are going to be mended and people are going to come back. But it may take whatever this cloud of this bullshit booking, this hovering around, may take that off. May remove that. May remove that, and it may shine some light on some talent, spark some new ideas, put some things together, get back to the basics, get on a run, get the attention of the industry again. Start to position yourself where when they hear of the NWA, they don't just shrug it off. I watch a lot of podcasts here and there, whatever. Not many talk about the NWA. And at least not in a positive light. I'm praying that you guys study blueprint of the NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, Mid Atlantic, all the territories, all the history, review, and understand. It's not about personal egos. It's not about being a know it all. It's not about just because it's your idea, it's the best idea. It's a series of events, a series of things that need to happen for everything to come together. You know, Kenzie Page is really good. People are looking at Kenzie Page. The other promotions are looking at Kenzie Page. Clock's ticking. That guy Tyler Shoup, Joe Casana promotion, he's on his way. And there's going to be these little standouts here and there that are going to start disappearing. When you had all this opportunity to book these correctly, so that your catalog, that your video archives look just off the hook. Anyway, that's all I really have to say on that right now. I really was going to talk about something else. I planned on doing like 10 to 15 minutes on this, but I'm so just I'm trying to figure out how it's not figured out. I'm trying to figure out what is a train of thought. Is it is yes, 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 let's just do that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Let's go ahead. We'll do that. I understand it's you got a boss. I understand. Sometimes you gotta tell the boss she can go back in the office. We don't really need your help out here. We got it. But you gotta have it. You can't just say it and not have it. I've done it. Here's witnesses. I've told management, the boss people, got it. Go back to the office. Got it. You guys need to have it. You need to have it. And one more thing before I go. This to kind of let you know, listeners, whoever happens to stumble across this video, and if anybody of any significance in any positions happen to hear this, I have the NWA Television Championship pin attached to my work vest. I'm saying that because I need you to understand that voices and the feedback of people like myself, we are not haters. We're not hating on you. We don't go rip you to other people. We don't jump in the comments and go, "Oh yeah, that they're this and they're that." No, we're talking to the people who are watching the NWA who feel a lot of the same way. And we're using these podcasts as a way to relay messages. At least that's for me. Let me speak for myself. That's what I'm doing. Like, hey, this isn't working. Like, yo, try another way. Hey, I think that was good, but what happened? Yo, I thought you guys were big prize fighter, kind of to the basics, catch can, real professional wrestling, and then go somewhere else. We got a surprise for you. Oh, it's Judias with his hair cut off and in better shape. We already seen him in better shape. We already seen him with his hair not the same. And you led us up to believe we were going to get something else. See, it's stuff like that. You didn't have to do it that way. It's like you suckered us into something and you played yourself. Because lo and behold, little to maybe we've been wanting to see Judias used. We didn't need to be baited in with a name and go, well, who is this guy? We just wanted him to be booked in matches that made sense because he's a big man. He should have been rolling people up a long time ago. He should have never had those brave dreads in his head running around with Father Mitchell or whatever his name is. We should have never seen him in a rematch or a match against Max. For what? For what? This is his new coming out party. Max has something else going on. The match was unnecessary. I hope somebody enjoys this. I hope somebody understands where I'm coming from. I hope that if anybody out there who works for the NWA sees this and watches any portion of this, I hope that you understand that this is not shit talking. This is tough love. It's tough love. If nobody's going to tell you, how will you ever know? And you can not listen, and then I could just stop watching because UWN Championship Wrestling for Hollywood is back anyway. Glad to see him back in action, running again. I'll get to that in another episode. Till then, anybody who wants to be a professional wrestler, just go do it. Matter of fact, if you want to be a promoter and run your own company, I strongly encourage you to learn business 101 and then get with the elders of the profession and learn how to do this correctly, one step at a time, from the ground up, how you're supposed to do this. Wrestling how it's supposed to be. In the ring or running the show. That's it, y'all. I'll see you another time in a different mood, talking about some different things.